Hi, performers and achievers. Welcome to Performers and Achievers Daily with me, Raj Gavurla. In today's episode, it's about the one thing. Have you ever heard that? The one thing. Do the one thing or the one task. Makes a lot of sense, actually. And they call that concentrating on focusing your attention on the one task or one thing. So, what's the issue there? How come that's sometimes not so easy? It's a little challenging, very challenging, hard, sometimes too hard. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with their point of view on what the one task is, in the sense that we do not live in silos. Sure, when you're at your workplace, wherever you play sports, right? You still bring your authentic self there. I mean, that's the whole reason you're there. And however, there are certain aspects of your authentic self that need to channel into what it is that one thing or that one task is. And so here's probably where some of the issue or place where there can be sustainable growth, sustainable development, and sustainable evolution. But before all that, it needs to be easier. Because what's the point? It's not going to be easier. So try this, implement this. Is that you're probably thinking about what's happening in the future. And maybe you're thinking about something in the future where you already are, or it may be something in the future where it's really not relevant to what it is you're doing there because you're a person, you're a complete person. You have a family, you have extended family, you have friends, you have citizens, you have others, right? So sometimes that might come into your mind. So the way to try to get a good feel and grasp of that is that when you're doing the one thing or the one task or the one priority, whatever the one is to realize that included in that is after you're doing just the task, because we can't just be task focused because there are people involved, most likely. And so, therefore, because there are people involved, it's just not about doing the task, getting the task done. No, what's really keeping the people there that's making it easier for sustainable growth, sustainable development, sustainable evolution is that are you making the time to talk to each other as a task, right? As a task. That's still a task. Just because you're not physically doing something or creating some kind of service or product, talking to each other is a task. Or sharing with each other is a task. And see, that's where you're really creating what I call the the gestalt, or what that simply means is where you're going from people, right? And they're now talking to each other and they're now sharing with each other. And now that one thing, that one task, that one priority becomes easier. Sustainable growth, sustainable development, and sustainable evolution. However, obviously, like anything, as you know, if you've been and you're knowledgeable, if you've been watching my podcast or listening to it and watching my videos, that there's a appropriate time to do those things, right? There's an appropriate time. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So there are times when it's appropriate to do so. And it doesn't necessarily need to be scheduled. However, at times it can be, right? Sometimes it depends on your specific way that your organization or your team or the way that you all, your leadership, learning environment, and culture is. Do you have like a pre talking to one another, sharing with one another, and then you go and you actually execute the process, the task, the one thing, the one priority. And then is there let's say, a time to share with one another, wherever that may be? Could be during a break, could be a scheduled sharing with one another. I think a lot of places they try to think that, okay, I'm here to do this task. And that's about what it's about. And they have a checklist. I do these tasks. And I'm not against the checklist. I have a checklist, success checklist. I use Habit Share. All for that. However, included in that success checklist is, am I talking to the right people? And are we talking about maybe this one task or one priority or that one thing? Or are we talking about maybe something else? Because at different times of day, we work on a different task. And then are we sharing with one another? Because we're not in silos. We actually are person and individual. We're people, right? So we're not just hired there to do that one task. Yes, that one task is important. Yes, that one thing is important. That one priority is important. Sure. However, to make it easier and to then have sustainable growth, sustainable development, sustainable evolution, do you talk to one another? Do you share with one another? And if you're in autopilot the whole time, then that's not occurring. And a lot of times I'll talk with people and I'll have customers or I'll listen to an interview by someone. And you know what they say? It's not necessarily sure they enjoy or like or have fun or maybe love or whatever word you like to use. It's my job, it's my work, it's my task, whatever it is. I do my task, however you frame that. They talk about what I really liked is the camaraderie. The camaraderie, talking to each other, sharing with each other. And that's the part that's really most important to that. And why is that? Well, it's for all the previous reasons I just mentioned. However, it also makes the one thing, one task, or one priority easier. Therefore, sustainable growth, sustainable development, and sustainable evolution occurs. That's what I have for you today. So, your bonus is to think about wherever your workplace is, or you're playing sports, or wherever it may be. Could be in your home. Are you just task oriented on that one thing, or doing that one thing or one priority? Or do you actually talk to each other, the people involved, and share with one another? And if you don't, or for some reason that's been jeopardized, then obviously there's an area there for you to work on to make it easier. Sustainable growth, sustainable development, sustainable evolution occurs. That's what I have for you in this episode. If you like my podcast, like it and comment in the comment section. You're also welcome to forward it to anyone. We're always looking to be of benefit to help someone. And for those of you who are interested in my private, personal, professional, confidential services and programs, visit my website, rajgavurla.com. Fill out the brief form, and we will contact you as soon as we can. Enjoy your day.